amp me up, never turn me down. This is strictly for the coach. Trill!
Hey, what's up, guys? It's your girl Antonia. We are out here amped up live. We're doing it a little bit different this time. We're having a new segment here. We're going to do some weekly content, make some, just some updates of what's going on, get everyone informed, or you just tap in and, tune in. We have here our co-hosts. We got 13 in the building. What's up, 13?
Peace. What's going on, Tom?
What's up? You holding it down.
Time.
I know it's been a minute.
Yeah.
I'm so blessed to have you out here because you're definitely somebody that, you have so much knowledge, so much information that you can share and help others. And, even, just, and that can really go far, extremely far to.
Yeah, so we just going to see.
Society.
We're going to open it up, unpack it, and see where we go with it, right?
Exactly. So let's dive right in. So talk to me. Tell me a little bit about you. Let's find out a little bit about you.
All right. So they call me 13. And there's a whole story behind that. We can get into that, in another series, right?
Yes.
I just can't. I just got out of prison, right? I just came home, right? I've been home for like 90 days, right? So a lot of people don't know what happened. Like, how'd I get locked up, right? I got attacked. Who I got attacked by? I got attacked by St. Petersburg Police Department, Kenneth Miller, and the former mayor, Rick Kreisman, right? So they had homicide detectives follow me for like 2 or 3 days. So I got arrested on July 8th of 2020 in St. Petersburg, Florida. And that's when I found out that the homicide detectives would follow me. And all this was because of my political action in St. Pete at the time, right? I started organizing protests and demonstrations and other little political things and whatnot, and talking about licensing and sovereignty, and all those little hot button topics. But not just talking about them in little sound bites, actually teaching in the streets, like literally in intersections, stopping traffic and teaching. They devised the plan. They arrested me on the 8th. They said that they had been following me for 2 days and that I was driving under suspended license. So, if anybody, this is all public record. So if you go look it up, right, they call me 13, but legally Spencer Cook, right? Yeah. So if you look that up, there's record of this. So you'll see that there's a record of them saying that my license is suspended. But what you will never find is the suspended driver's license.
Dang.
Because it doesn't exist. I've never had a driver's license in no state.
Dang.
Right. So they created a legal fiction and they arrested me during a global pandemic, right? So when I say I want a jury trial, what do they say? They say it's a global pandemic. We're not doing any jury trials.
Right.
You will sit here indefinitely. We don't know what's going on. So, and we can unpack all that later, right? Because there's lawsuits coming. There's a lot of shit coming with that, right? Because, I'm not going to be quiet about that. But that's what happened to me personally. But I think what's facing us all, right, outside of that is, we're talking about this AI shit, what they call an artificial intelligence, right? And there's a lot of talk about it, right? And I think that we all need to talk about it because it's going to affect us, right? And so, you can say whether it's going to affect you financially. Some people are going to be put out of a job, and that's just, that happens, right? But there's going to be a lot of more. This is just my opinion, based on facts, right? Based on circumstantial evidence.
Sure.
It's going to get a lot. It's going to get a lot more nefarious than that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Even they say when it comes to AI, it can be beneficial when it comes to science. Trying to help our studies and whatnot, but it also can lose control.
Yeah.
Starts to having more than what we anticipated. It puts more work in, or it like self-educates itself pretty much, and becomes way more powerful and have more knowledge than we can even bear to understand. But I've seen things pop up like saying like AIs in the future are going to take care of babies. Parent people are slowly going to like die off and whatnot. And, you know, they're really going to be here to control.
Population collapse is really happening. And it's been happening where, you know, sperm cancer decreasing, you know, there's a lot of variables to go with that. But it's basically in a nutshell, the birth rate is decreasing, right? But people are still dying.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? And then, so there's a company called Ectolife, right? And this dude, I forget his name Hassim something or another. If you look it up, anybody can look this stuff up now. We're in the information age, right? So Ectolife, and they actually have a factory, right, where they can produce up to 30,000 artificially grown humans in this factory, right? So, and they show, you know, they take you through a virtual tour of this factory. But this is a real factory. And not only is it a real factory, but this dude actually pitched this idea to Elon Musk as like a partnership, like, because Elon Musk has been talking about population collapse because it's happening. You know what I'm saying? It's happening. So, I mean, that is a reality, right? And it's not science fiction.
Correct.
Right? Once you really look at what's really going on, you can grow a human in a lab. Not can, they do. Yeah. Not just humans, you know,
but
whatever
I mean, look at how they've been brewing up COVID from basically 2017. Like this was all created.
Yeah.
We funded that. We funded this in China, basically, to bring that virus.
So real quick, so this is a thing. Sometimes people say I'm like super technical, right? Like with this. So I think like one thing we need to start doing is we need to change the way we talk. So we didn't fund this shit in China.
Right, we did not. They did.
In China.
Right, you're right.
Right?
Yeah.
And what they was funding it's called gang of function. What is gang of function? Fauci funded this, right? Gang of function is when they learn and they develop how can you make a virus or bacteria that's in the animal kingdom, how can you make it jump to the human kingdom? Because it's not going to just jump, right? That doesn't happen. So how can you make it jump? So they call it gang of function, right? So during the pandemic, what I was saying, and I mean, you know, I've been called a conspiracy theorist, but I've been called worse, right? So, but what I've been saying is what I believe is that what we're seeing is it's not a virus, right? What we're seeing is the effects of electromagnetic radiation, right? I'm not saying that it's caused by 5G. That's not what I'm saying. Because even outside of 5G, we've been suffering from electromagnetic radiation for years, right? Since the advent of electric cables and dealing with all that stuff. And then you start talking about Tesla, right? And the suppression of that, the murder of him, right? Freeing clean energy. So, right. So, but and that's the thing, right? We just need to get into all of that because, you know, we all need to be talking about it. This is the time.
For sure.
Right? And then you got what? What's his name? Not Bill Clinton, Sleepy Joe. Biden.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he got the SRM program, right? Solar radiation modification. See, they come up with all these crafty words, right? And it really sounds nice, but we don't really know what the fuck that means.
Right.
Solar radiation modification. What does that mean? That means you want to block out radiation from the sun. Yeah. And you say you want to do this to battle climate change. Yeah. You're a liar.
Right.
Right? And people have been talking about, so 10 years ago, right, when we was talking about chemtrails, everybody said, oh, 13, you too radical. You're a conspiracy theorist, right? You smoke too much weed. You read too many books. Oh, whatever, right? It was all that shit, right? You know, you go back a little ways. So you know, right? So now, 10 years, a decade later, they're admitting these things. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easier to admit a lie 10 years after the lie, right?
Yeah.
If me and you married, right? And we married for 75, say we married for 50 years.
Yeah.
And I say, damn, baby, I gotta tell you something. I cheated on you. 45 years ago.
Right.
Right? Chances are you're not gonna leave. You might be mad. You might smack me.
Right.
But so it's easier to admit the truth, right? And that's why they classify shit for 25 years, 50 years. And then when they declassify it, the generation that gets the information don't really have a context for it.
For sure.
Right? So we're learning about Operation Paperclip.
Damn.
But this generation has no context for Operation Paperclip. We don't understand that's all Nazi shit. We think the Nazis was in Germany. We don't know George Bush and all them is Nazis. We don't understand that Donald Trump and their family, all these motherfuckers is traced back to Germany, and they all Nazis. We think that we think the Allied forces defeated Germany, right? And that was the fall of the Third Reich. Come on. We think we was taught Hitler committed suicide in a bunker, right? Come on. So
damn.
But that's so Biden, my bad. Sometimes I go off the rail. So
keep going. We need that. This is why I'm saying we gotta do that, But why
so go ahead.
But back to you saying with the whole like control, this basically what it is they're trying to control the population. They want to depopulate.
So it's not even a matter of trying to control. They do control. Like, I mean, so when we talk about control, right? And these are abstract terms. So what do we mean by control? We mean program, right? Like they literally program behavior.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So and they do these things primarily. The most vicious weapon is what we're looking at right now, this box right here, right? This thing it's a double-edged sword, right? And that's what's good about TikTok and these type of platforms, because it starts to neutralize, right? We begin to create spaces, right? We don't need CNN to create a space for us. Sure. We're gonna create the space, right? And then we're gonna invite people into the space and we're gonna talk. And after we talk, we might actually do some shit.
Exactly.
Right? So, but they do control us. Think about what happened during the Abbott baby formula thing. When the baby formula company shut down, because they had some type of bacteria, and there was no baby formula, and they were flying baby formula into America on military jets. Yeah. But then think about how much they control us, right? This is what they're saying. There's no baby formula. So the babies are going to starve. All these titties in America, and the babies are going to starve. We flying in baby formula, literally from across the world on military planes because this corporation shut down. They control us. Yeah. Right. And this is part of this shit we was talking about in St. Pete. We're going to start growing our own food. You come outside, your neighbor got grass. Don't nobody around here eat this goddamn grass, man. Let's grow some tomatoes. You grow some tomatoes. I grow some potatoes. This guy grows some peppers, and we're going to eat.
Yes, exactly.
Right? And that's what they don't want. That's why we start taking back control. So
yeah, for sure. I think I saw an article where a lady was growing, a bunch of stuff on her property in the front, and it was like she got in trouble for that. People came to her house saying it was just too much. It was a distraction to the environment, or it didn't look well in the area. Like, are you kidding me? Like I can't have food. I can't have resources.
You can't have a tomato.
Literally, tomato.
Yeah. And that come up. That's the thing, right? When you have that amount of power, your excuses don't have to really make sense.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And you don't see. Here's the key to the thing. You don't want your excuses to make sense because we're all rational. I mean, even the most craziest motherfucker, we're all rational beings at the end of the day. So if you tell me some shit that makes sense, I can say, well, whoa, wait. I can start questioning you on it, right? But what they do is they lie to us and they tell us a lie that doesn't make sense, right?
For sure.
So while we're trying to figure out this shit that don't make sense, they hit you with another shit that don't make sense, right? So they just keep bombarding you with all this nonsense. And your mind never gets a chance to make a logical conclusion about none of it. So you give up.
Preach. Of course.
And that's called apathy. And there's a science to this shit. You know what I'm saying? But see now, this generation, right? All this stuff is coming out, right? All these little MK Ultra, they got a show on Netflix now called Stranger Things.
Oh yes, that's my show.
But yeah, what it's about MK Ultra,
Sure
right?
is.
And but now, so now I'm looking out on TikTok. I'm looking out the landscape. I see a lot of stuff on mind control, right? And it's beautiful, right? But a lot of people don't like. What really is it? We're talking about torture. We're talking about, you know what I'm saying? Like we're all subject to mind control, right? Because the basis of mind control is abuse.
Mm-hmm.
It can keep you in a constant, denurtured state, constantly anxious, constantly in fear, constantly depressed, constantly stressed out. You know what I'm saying? And then while you're in this state, they bombard you with all these commercials for all this dumb shit that they think, well, they don't think, they know we don't need it, but,
Right. No, yeah.
so,
Absolutely.
but we need to start having these longer dialogues because so like with TikTok, you see 3-minute clips and it's beautiful.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
But we can go live now, so we can have longer dialogues about it. You know what I'm saying? And how it actually affects us, right? So we can actually start going down to, these city council meetings.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And
Yeah,
that's I had a couple councilmen on the platform. The series, the area, the city. But that's what I want. I want to speak to all different types of people, professions, from upper classmen to middle class to lower class. Because everybody have knowledge. Everybody has some type of experience. People, look at life in a different view when you have different, you have different hardships in life too. So it's, I want to open the platform up to more people to open our eyes, to let people know, like, hey, this is a place where you can get your unlimited information. It's not censored. We're here.
Right. And you
have
don't
an
have to
opinion.
go nowhere for nothing else.
Yeah, and this is it.
It used to be a name you could trust, right? Yes. And so that's the thing, right? It's important, when you're out in front of people like this, right, to say, okay, so to say this is a brand you can trust or a name you can trust, that doesn't mean that everything you say or everybody you get on having on, everything is always 100% true.
Right.
But it's truthful, right? It's
gonna make you think, and the rest is up to you. You want to know more? You can learn more. It's literally in your hands. You can look it up. You can search. I want people to start waking up and be like, oh, I never even heard of this, or I never knew. Right. Now you have the opportunity. I know you have a few minutes to keep scrolling on TikTok or whatever, this and that. Look it up. From finances to open up businesses to getting things written off with taxes to learning about just the water that we have here going on, issues that you want to, we probably know you want to avoid, so literally it's for the people. So
we need to really start practicing like cooperative economics. You know what I'm saying? Like when we look at these big major corporations, it appears to us like they're really competing against each other. But at the end of the day, like really, they're like really all family. Like people talk about the Rothschilds, right?
Yes.
You're starting to hear about them all the time, right? Rothschilds, Illuminati. But what is it? It's not a secret society. It's a society with secrets. There's a difference. On the surface, it seems like they're all competing against each other, right? I mean, even like Russia and the Ukraine and all that, right?
They're really not. They're actually all
right. They're family.
Strengthening superpowers and shit.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not. When I say they're family, I mean like literally these people are like cousins. So when you say Illuminati, that's what that is. It's a bloodline. It's not just a bunch of, evil white dudes that got together and said we're going to take over the world. I mean, even though that's what it is, but that's not all it is. You know what I'm saying? So, but these people, this is a bloodline, right? So when you see all these little Putin invading Ukraine, That's not to say necessarily that Putin is related to whatever the dude's name in the Ukraine is, right? But I mean, at one point in time, that was all the same territory, right? I mean, Putin said he was invading Ukraine to eradicate Nazis, right? And so on their tanks, they had the Z, which was the Z. For some reason, that was supposed to represent Nazis or anti-Nazis. And, on the surface of it, the news media never really, they mentioned it, but they never really got into it, right? I mean, but that is one of the home bases of Nazis. That is one of the cradles. That's where one of the places these motherfuckers crawled up out of is the Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, to say that is not really a far-fetched idea. You know what I'm saying? So, but we need to cooperate.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we all we got. They cooperate.
Literally.
You know what I'm saying? While all that stuff they talking about, the Russians and the Chinese, they all on the International Space Station. You can't be, you're not really beefing that bad.
Yeah.
Right?
Literally not.
On Earth, it looks like you're beefing, it's getting ready to be World War III, and it might be, but, that's for sure. All that, because Putin ain't going to war with nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but but yeah, this AI, that the idea of artificial, so all the experts, right, the people who are on the front line of developing this technology and training it, and when you listen to them talk about it, they talk about it like people talk about humans and human development and how they trained it. I mean, they trained it the same way almost we train people in schools. You know what I mean? But what they say is that there is nothing artificial about artificial intelligence. So then the question arises, well, what does the A even stand for? You know what I mean? Because you guys are the ones who are developing this thing, and you guys to say that there's nothing artificial intelligent about it. So these are the questions we just start asking, right? So you say, and it's going to sound crazy, right? But what we're actually witnessing, like we're witnessing the birth of a new species, right? Like humans are silicon-based. The human body is a silicon-based computer. It's a silicon-based, it's a carbon-based, it's a carbon-based computer. But most of this AI technology that we're witnessing now is based in silicon, right? And for certain things, silicon is way more superior than carbon for certain things, right? For you talking about for computing information, it's way more. So right now, right, on the commercial market, Chat GPT 4, right, is the highest level of intelligence that this AI has, and they compare it to Einstein, right? So so now you gotta imagine this thing is smarter than anybody you know.
Yeah.
Already.
Literally.
You know what I'm saying? And this is 4. And you gotta remember, it says it's called a GPT, which stands for Generative Pre-Trained Transformer, right? And this is where it should start getting freaky, because sometimes they don't even say GPT and they just call them transformers.
Dang.
Right? And so you start, oh shit, like movies are coming to life.
That
right?
makes you think differently. Like they've been preparing us for decades, literally.
So now here's something to think about, right?
Yeah.
All right. If we can agree to this, the intelligence to create a thing must exist before the thing you creating, right? So, for example, if we say an airplane, a Boeing 757, right? The intelligence it takes to create that plane has to exist before you create the plane, right? Okay. So outside of religion and all that, right, if we can look out across the landscape and realize that there is an intelligent design to the universe. There's an intelligent design to the human body, right? And all these things outside of human interaction, they really work together. So the intelligence to create these things had to exist before they were created, right? Okay. So with humans and with most organic life on Earth, what we're witnessing is intelligence expressing itself through a carbon-based life form, right? Because with the carbon is where you start getting emotions, right? And we start talking about vibing with each other and frequencies, but not the same type of vibe you get with computers, right? It's a different energy, it's a different frequency, right?
Sure.
So that's what you get. That's part of what you get with carbon, right? That carbon base that you get what we call life. But intelligence doesn't have to just express itself through carbon, right? That's humans being arrogant, thinking, oh, the only intelligence, the highest form of intelligence has to be carbon-based. Why? Because you're carbon-based? Oh, so you think vanilla ice cream is the best? Why? Because you like it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep.
So now what we're witnessing is a silicon-based intelligence, right? And humanity gave birth to this.
Literally.
Right? We created the vehicle by which this intelligence could express itself. But the intelligence that's going to express itself is devoid of life. It's devoid of emotion, right? So that's what we're going to witness. I mean, on a really huge scale, right? I mean, and we're witnessing that. So Elon Musk is debuting his computer. I mean, his little robot. I forget what it's called, but he has one. And right now, they look weird. They look like robots, right? But they got artificial skin. They've already developed artificial skin. They've already developed artificial blood, right? They've already digitized human DNA, right? And as we start getting into this, right, we got to start getting slides and pulling this shit up so people can see. We're like, we ain't just saying this shit. They saying it, right?
Really.
They say they developed artificial skin.
Yeah.
They say they developed artificial blood. They say that they digitized the human genome, right? So right now, these robots look like robots. But pretty soon, they're not going to look like fucking robots.
Dang.
And they're going to have rights. So what is it?
That's
Dubai, Saudi Arabia, one of them, I forget which one of them is, the Middle East countries, right? They're supposed to be super restrict, religious, right?
Dubai.
They got the first robot citizen.
Wow.
It has right. I think it's supposed to be a female named Cynthia. I think that's her name.
Wow.
She has rights as a citizen. So she's a citizen of I think it's Dubai or Saudi Arabia. It's easily be found what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. One of these things gave opening address at the UN. So it addressed to the United Nations, right? So now you start getting into, what I'm talking about, Roswell, right? There's a dude from Pennsylvania, right? His name is Philip J. Corso, right? He wrote a book called The Day After Roswell.
Oh, wow.
He worked at the Pentagon, right? So now this ain't just some random crazy dude off the streets. Like, he actually worked at the Pentagon, right? They can fact check him. He worked at the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Above him, there was only a general and then a president. So at the Pentagon, what he says is that he was responsible for what they called the Desk of Foreign Technology. And all that really meant, they used the term foreign to disguise, it meant off-planet, off-world, non-human. It's foreign technology. But just by the name, you wouldn't say, oh, that's alien. You would just say, oh, maybe it's Russian, right? Because it always seems like America's always in somewhere Russian, right? Yeah. Even in the movies, it's always the fucking Russians, right? So, but that's a whole other fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole other thing. So, I forget what we were talking about.
The book, The Foreign Technology.
Yeah. So he wrote this book, basically what he's saying is that he was partly responsible for getting this foreign technologies, alien technology like infrared, GPS, fiber optics, silicon. So now the thing is, right? Either he's telling the truth or he's not, right? But now to be who he is, to say what he's saying, it has to carry some weight.
Yeah, literally.
Right? And he's not saying, I heard this. He's saying, like, I was responsible for doing this. Right? And the reason I'm talking about it now is because I'm old. What are they going to do to me?
Yeah.
Right? So,
what I don't understand. He got that from outside.
So they say, according to him, that goes back into Roswell. There was a crash.
Yeah.
Farmers came out, the local police came out, the military came out, the military took control of the police, took control of the area. They retrieved a vehicle, what they call a flying saucer. And what they later started calling IBINs, extraterrestrial biological entities, right? So these were basically, they weren't humans, or at least they weren't humans as we know humans to be. Right. So this was like in 1954, right? Or 57, I forget the dates, but so basically they had all this technology, right? And they, according to him, they didn't know what to do with all of it because one, you couldn't just tell everyone, right? Because you're trying to keep a secret. So you can't tell everyone. And you have a whole lot of it. So for years, it just sat around in military bases, under heavy guard. And then in the Pentagon, there was a bunch of this technology, he says, and that he was tasked with. So he was the go-between corporate America and the military, right? So, all this stuff, all this weaponry that they have is, they work in partnership with corporate America and with colleges, right? So the thing was for him to dole out this technology and find, for two reasons. To develop military applications, of course, first and foremost, and then to find commercial applications for these things, right? So, of course, night vision, right? All kinds of military applications, right? But then it trickles down into commercial use, right? Like I'm getting ready to order a pair, night vision goggles, right? You can order them for like 30, 40 bucks.
Heard?
Yeah, like we should have them.
Yeah.
Right? 30 bucks, night vision goggles. Infrared beams.
Wow.
They say it's part of fiber optics. So all this is, alien technology, according to them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the idea that intelligence only expresses itself through carbon is like, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think we're witnessing now. And if you go into like old Gnostic texts, they start talking about, archons and the demiurge. You know what I'm saying? So these concepts are not old. They're just coming back out now, right? So it's like they've been buried. And now they're starting to come out and they're on everyone's lips. Everyone's talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't hide the truth forever, right?
Sure, for sure.
But if we don't start doing something, I don't mean, riot and dumb shit like that. Like that's like throwing a tantrum.
Literally, we ain't got time for that.
Yeah, we don't have time for that, right? Because that doesn't change anything.
It doesn't.
Right? After a riot,
it
my
makes
food is still contaminated. Yeah, my food. Not only do I have nowhere to shop, right? But the food I eat is still contaminated. There's still poison in my water.
Might be worse.
There's still poison in my food.
Literally.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta take action and make the
poison in my air.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that unites us all, right? So, like one thing I was teaching in St. Pete was, there's no such thing as race. Like there's no such thing as black people and white people. And it's really a hard concept for people to understand because we've been programmed to believe that for a long time, right? So one thing I used to say was, okay, if you believe there are black people and white people, right, then I should have gray babies because according to you, I'm black and my wife is white. So all my children should look gray, but they're
Right.
not. You know what I'm saying? So it's an illusion. So let's just stop the nonsense.
Literally.
You know what I'm saying? And once we get past all that to the shit that unites us, you know what I'm saying? It's like the Tower of Babel. You familiar with the Tower of Babel? The story of the Tower of Babel in the Bible? So the crash course of that was basically there was one language, everybody spoke the same language, everybody got along, and they built this tower to go to heaven, right? And in the Bible it says that gods in the Bible, not one God, but the gods saw the tower, and they was like, man, we have to knock this tower down and confuse their language, right? Because this way, anything that they want to do, they'll be able to do.
They won't be able to do.
So knock the tower down.
Yeah.
They will be able to do because it's only one language. There's no confusion, right? There's only one people. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's part of like divide and conquer shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So the tower.
Isn't that why you're saying that they did want to knock it down and trying to like break up the languages because it makes them weaker?
Yeah, it makes us weaker.
Right. But
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No. Well, continue. I'm sorry. Continue.
No, what you want to say?
No, but I thought you said that if they knocked it down, it wouldn't make them weaker or something like that. But continue, because I could be reading it wrong.
Well, what I was saying was, I mean, and now, of course, we can get into whether the story was real or not real.
And it's still a metaphor. It's a similar.
So the metaphor was right. So we just stay with this. So the metaphor was basically that humanity was one.
Right.
One language. We all got along. It was all gravy, right? And because we all got along, we built this tower to get to heaven, right? We like, yo, you up there saying you God, you doing all this nut shit, you know what I'm saying? But we're gonna come up there and check you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we can do that now because we united. So it's like talking to the government.
Yeah.
You keep taxing us. Every time I go to the store, a bottle of water is 10 cents more. God damn, it was $1.20 yesterday. It's $1.30 tomorrow. It's gonna be $1.40, right?
Right.
So, but we can only do that when we're united. So that's part of like that Tower of Babel thing. And that's what I'm saying. Like we really have to get united, but we can't just stay in the house. No, yeah, we can't just stay in the house, right?
We gotta come together and preach and educate, unite. Literally.
We have to demonstrate.
Mentally.
You know what I'm saying? We have to demonstrate.
Everything. We have to come together and unite.
Like I'm gonna show you at some point, we gotta do this, and I'll be in the garden. So we got a garden, right? Yeah. I mean, we grow tomatoes, cauliflower, broccoli, kale, hot peppers, pumpkins, watermelons, medicine.
Dang.
You know what I'm talking about?
That's beautiful.
So now, when you see the garden, it's pretty. It's not huge, but it's pretty big.
Yeah.
But we don't all need a huge garden.
Right.
You know what I mean? So these are some things that we had to actually start incorporating on. You know what I'm saying? Incorporating in our life, and we have to start. It's difficult though to untangle yourself from all this shit.
To deprogram after you've been taught, like, hey, this is this is that, this is black, this is white.
It's hard not to go to McDonald's when you're hungry.
Right.
They're everywhere. Right. And whether you call it Wendy's or it's all the same shit. Yeah. It's not food. Right?
For sure.
So, but it's hard because it's easy.
It's they say
right?
dog new tricks, but you can't you gotta train, you practice.
Right.
Literally.
Right.
But yeah, I want to make sure we do this like weekly.
No doubt.
Get the content out there, add the images, and people can learn because visually people want to see like what are they talking about? They got to see it. We have enough space on our background that we can throw it in there.
And part of that too is that like I've been studying for a long, long time. right? And some of the stuff that people like, you hear a lot of people talking about driver's licenses on, you know what I mean? And like, I mean, I'm new to the TikTok and all that shit, right? But like, I've been living this shit in real life.
Literally.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never had a driver's license. Like, I can tell you what really happens. People would say they sit in their living room with a piece of paper telling you what to tell the police if they pull you over and you ain't got no fucking license.
Right.
Let me tell you what's really gonna fucking happen, because the shit they telling you is gonna happen is not necessarily gonna happen. The police not trying to hear that shit.
Yeah, for sure.
There's other ways to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? So, and you know, I can say it because I lived it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a record of all this shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah.
We're gonna tap in. I want to go over everything because that's
We'll start every Thursday.
Yeah. Every Thursday streaming, talking, just chopping it up and getting the content and spreading awareness, and let this lead to creating events and networking gigs and all that good stuff. But yeah,
I think we also got to make sure to keep it lighthearted and have fun.
Oh yeah, that's the main thing. We can have some guests come on here. It could be a comedian, it could be anybody.
Yeah.
Fun. Everybody want to talk. Everybody want to learn. But we can have directors, film directors.
What I want to do, like, so, and I know you travel a little bit. I know you ain't got no problem hitting that highway. Neither do I, right?
Oh.
So like, we can actually do some stuff like live from different locations, right?
Yes.
Like, I know, like, I traveling back and forth from Pennsylvania to Florida to go past Georgia. So there's a sign, I always see it, and it says, like, are you familiar with Jekyll Island?
No. North Carolina?
I was about to say, I'm not sure if it's in North Carolina or if it's in Georgia.
Is that where they have a bunch of the animals or something, or the different? Nah.
Well, so what? I mean, they might have a bunch of stuff there, but the only way I'm really familiar with it is, so Jekyll Island is the place where the whole idea for our banking system was hatched. You know what I'm saying? And it's a real place. Like, we could actually go there. I want to go there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's a system that.
Say that one more time.
Explain to me. I don't understand what's at the island.
So, all right. So our banking system, right? The Federal Reserve Bank.
Yeah.
It's the bank that issues
the promissory notes and all that.
Right. And we think that it's American money. We think it's the United States currency, but it's not. It's private money.
Right.
So, but the whole idea for that, for the American branch, right? Some of the Rothschilds, right? They sent one of their ambassadors over here. I believe his name was Paul Wahlberg. And he met with the Rockefellers and all these dudes, and they hatched this plan for the American branch of this international banking cartel. So this plan was hatched on Jekyll Island, right? And there's a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island, that talks about, that goes into the history. But like I said, it's a real place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we can actually go there. Like, we can actually go there.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Georgia Guidestone? I heard it got knocked down. I'm not sure. But the Georgia Guidestone, it was these stones that was just like mysteriously planted in the ground. And on them, they spell out parts of the plans for what they call New World Order. Like, get the population down to 50 million, do this, do that, and then written in like a bunch of different languages. And that's like right here in America. That's right there in Georgia. You know what I mean? Like, we can actually go to this place.
I have to look it up
and show people. Like, it's not just some TikTok shit. We didn't just make this shit. This is real shit. Yeah. And it's happening. You know what I'm saying? So,
for real.
Hopefully, you know what I'm saying? As we move on, people support the movement. They like what we're saying. They like what we're doing. And they actually join the conversation.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I already know. So we're going to use this as, an example, as a platform, how we show people like, hey, come on board. We meet, we talk, and just.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Already know. Let people know where we can contact you on your TikTok or, social media.
So, on TikTok, you can catch me at the Hause of Ummi. That's house spelled with the A, Hause. Hause of Ummi. Ummi is UMMI.
What does that mean?
Right. The house. So house is, it's like an umbrella. So house is Ummi is mother. Mother is Arabic and Egyptian. Um, and for me, it has meaning on a few different levels. So I mean, right now, what we're witnessing is it's a new energy, right? We're witnessing the reemergence of the divine energy, right?
Right.
That's why men are feeling attacked right now, right? And we're hearing men starting to feel like, oh, we're being attacked because this feminine energy is coming in and they don't know what to do, right? I mean, and no disrespect to nobody else, but I even believe that that's partly behind the LGBT thing, right? I think part of that is we've begun to we sexualize our spirituality instead of spiritualizing our sexuality. You know what I'm saying? So I understand when people say they don't identify with their sex organs. I understand that completely.
Okay.
Right? But
Right.
let's go a step further. When we spiritualize our sexuality, you say, I don't identify with this physical body at all.
Literally.
I'm a being of light. I'm a light being.
Yes.
I'm not man. I'm not a woman. I'm not black. I'm not white. I'm not gay. I'm not straight. I'm a light being.
Yes.
I'm in this body, right? And I mean, you got to respect the body because you in it. So,
right.
But you don't have to be defined by it. So I understand that.
Yes.
But I do think that it's gotten away from us.
Yeah, it's like saying you driving a Toyota or a Benz, but not realizing you are not the vehicle. You
right.
are a operator or the conscience of the body.
Yeah,
so that's who you identify as. I got you. I'm here with you. You already know. Yeah, I hear you. I like that. I like that, Brand. We got to push that too. We got to push that.
So there's a whole thing with that. Like, so while I was in prison, I did a lot of studying, I did a lot of meditating. Being in prison, it could be a lot of things, right? There's a lot of stuff going on because, the same dudes that's out here is in there.
Yeah.
So there's gambling, there's drugs, there's sex, there's all this in there.
Right.
But you also got to remember, when you in a cell, you in a concrete enclosure. It's like being in a cave, basically.
Yeah.
So you in this cave, and I'm in this cave, and I was in it during COVID, so I'm in the cell for 23 hours a day, meditating and studying. So I had quite a few epiphanies. And I just can't wait to share them. You know what I'm saying?
I'm excited. Trust me, I know that I'm familiar with that space.
Like I said, even with that whole LGBT,
yeah.
Like, real quick, I know we'll get back into this later, but like the beautiful thing about their flag, like that rainbow, right? So what happens if you pass a light through a prism?
It reflects.
You get a rainbow, right? If you pass light through a crystal, the light refracts, it breaks, it kind of shatters, right? Go away. I got 3 kids. I got 3. You ain't seen them kids in the popcorn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let one of them in a minute. Hold on.
Yeah.
So that light coming through the crystal, it refracts and you see a rainbow.
Right.
Right? On the other side of that rainbow is only one light though, right?
Yes.
So I don't know if this is what they had in mind when they came up with this flag. So this flag represents, in my mind, when I see it, it represents fractured consciousness.
Like broken.
Yeah, right? So now we start identifying with all these different colors of the rainbow.
Damn.
I'm blue, I'm green, I'm bluish green, I'm red, I'm yellow, I'm black, I'm white, I'm all this old nonsense, right?
Yeah.
But on the other side of this crystal is what you really are.
Real light.
Right. And then we get into the crystals that's in the brainstem. We can get into all that. The black diamond. It's not just metaphysical nonsense that I'm talking. Because even so I post a lot of videos on TikTok right now. I haven't gone, this is the first time I've been going live. And really, since I've been out, I've been hibernating. I've been just bonding with the family. And you know what I'm saying? So but I've been posting videos. So, and I see the comments.
Yes.
That's why I put a comment. And I see the comments. And I see a lot of people saying oh, this is a bunch of spiritual mumbo jumbo.
Right.
right? I'm like, no, it's real science. Like we really do have crystals, nano crystals in the brainstem. There's crystals in the pineal gland. So, but
we talk about
let me
that.
stop.
Soon.
Let me stop. I'm gonna stop.
Yes, you already know. But
yeah,
y'all tune in every week. We out here, we outside. This is just the beginning, and we're gonna be dropping gems. These crystals,
gems. Ask questions.
Yeah.
Not just saying I got a bunch of answers. But
but we can research. That's what we're here for.
Let's do that. Like I want to start a book club.
Exactly, me too. That would be dope.
I actually read books, and I mean like books I can hold.
Literally.
I believe at one point, man, you know, if all the books are digital, and then at some point there might not be no books.
Exactly. One push of a button, they're gonna be nothing.
Yeah, so I still like, you know what I'm saying? Hey,
I want the bookshelf collection, the library. Yes. Yes.
SCI Albion.
Yeah.
You know what SCI stand for?
State
Correctional Institution.
Is it okay? Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll talk. We're gonna end this here with Amped Up Live.
If I don't shut up now, I won't shut up later.
Y'all already know. Y'all tap in with us.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Pete, check me out at the House of Ummi. We got some clothing and shit coming, so you know I do clothes. So we got some clothing and shit coming. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna tap in. I'm gonna holler at you on the other side, Tom.
Yes, you already know. Later.